Okay, so for all you GI modular sleep system fans out there, you know as well as I know that there's not a whole lot of videos out there showing how well these things work. So we had a really good snow day, so as what I've done is I've made a snow shelter out here in the backyard, something for my daughter to play in, and also I thought it'd be a good opportunity to test this modular sleep system out a little bit myself, and that way you guys can kind of get a feel for how well these things do. Now, I've slept in this thing on many occasions in the cold and everything else, and it always does fantastic. But like I said, tonight we're going to test it out in a snow shelter. Now, the things that I'm going to be using are number one, I've got a sleep pad with a mylar reflective pad as well. Then I'm going to put a wool blanket over the top of that, and then put the GI modular sleep system on top of all those. One of the things that I hear a lot is people saying that you don't need a pad underneath these things, and that's absolutely false. Conduction is a bastard, and yes, it will suck the heat out of you even in one of these. It's not as bad, but it still will do it. So please still use a bed pad when you sleep out in the elements with one of these things. So don't know how well you guys can see down in here, but it's actually a good size opening. I can fit my entire body in here, but as what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to slide into this thing feet first instead of head first, because I am going to be cocooned in my sleep system, and that's going to take away the ability for me to move my arms. So I actually want my head to stick out of this shelter just a little tiny bit, so that if this thing collapses in on me, I can still breathe. I won't have access to my arms, but at least I can still breathe until my wife comes and digs me out and calls me a dumbass. So I will get back with you guys as soon as it starts getting dark. We'll lay this thing out, and this is going to be my home for the night, and we will see how it does. All right, guys, well, it is time to hit the hay. Currently it's about, I think it's about 10 degrees or so, but not terribly cold. No wind right now, it's all still, but it's supposed to get down to about 0 degrees Fahrenheit, so I think that's somewhere around the ballpark of -16, -18 degrees Celsius. But anyway, alright, so I lied to you. Whenever I crawled in here, I was thinking it was about 10 degrees. Well, I just woke up, had to use the restroom. It's about midnight, and you can actually see that it's 16 degrees. And it looks like the low is supposed to get down to about 4. So anyway, not quite as cold as what I thought it was, but either way, so far so good. It's actually quite cozy. Alright, I'm here to tell you that I'm having a hard time going back to sleep, just because of the simple fact that I'm starting to overheat. So I'm going to pull this, or I'm actually going to try to work my way out of this snow shelter just a little bit, and see if I can cool off a little bit and crawl back in. So definitely staying warm. Okay, so here we are, the following morning of testing the GI modular sleep system. It's about 3 degrees right now. It's very cold outside, but in that sleep system, it was very, very warm. I did not get chilled at all. At one point, like I said, I had to crawl out and air out a little bit so I didn't overheat, which was sucked, but you know what? I'd rather be too hot than too cold. Um, One thing that I have found through trial and error with this thing, in temperatures like this, people are more inclined to wear more clothing. And actually, you know what? When you wear less clothing inside that modular sleep system and just go with polypros, um, it's better. You don't feel restricted, and ultimately it just feels a lot better. Oh, my dog came out. Come here. Sit still. Like I said in the beginning of the video, you do need a ground pad though. Okay, don't kid yourself. You will need a ground pad. Conduction is a bastard, and it will suck the heat right out of you, even though you're in one of these sleep systems. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video on the GI sleep system, and I hope this has answered a few questions that anybody might have in regards to it and how well it might work in conditions such as this. So, as always, guys, have a good one.